How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is here for a little video in regards to the transfer window so far. We're a day before the window closes. I just got a few thoughts on my mind, and I want to get everyone else's thoughts on what we've seen so far, and what we haven't seen so far. So yeah, please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And we're going to talk about the transfer window, man. How is everyone feeling in regards to the Newcastle game last week? Has it all gone now? Has everyone's disappointment subsided? Are we just focused on what's coming in or what's going out? Because right now there's a whole lot of nothing going on at Leeds United, but there's a story within that itself. Um, yeah, I mean, wow. I made a point on the debrief this week that everything that I said on the match review for the Newcastle game kind of stood to that day, and it still kind of stands to this day now. We're on the 30th of January, and we've seen nothing at all. But are there reasons behind that? Are there reasons with why we haven't done anything when reality we should be doing something or should have done something? We're going to get into it, and I want to get in your thoughts and feelings too. So, I mean, where to start? Where to start with this thing? And shout out to everyone in the chat so far. Hello to everybody, man. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. Well, I mean, let's get the nonsense out of the way, because we've seen over the last 24 hours West Ham seemingly bid for our two key guys in Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, which for me, I mean, I didn't even break a sweat, and I was talking to a West Ham fan last night about it. It just seems a story that's beneficial for both sides. West Ham are another team that should be doing business in this window, and they've done nothing in terms of them trying to consolidate for a top four spot. But them saying that they're going to bid for Calvin Phillips and Rafinha sounds ambitious. It sounds great, doesn't it? That they've tried to get two, really good players like that, but it was never going to happen. And on the side of Leeds United, it's more like we'll see, we've had bids from a top four chasing club, and we've rejected them both. So for me, it's a convenient PR story, and that's the way I saw it. I didn't think anything of it. When I think about Rafinha leaving Leeds United, I'm thinking he's going to a ready-made Champions League club, and same with Calvin Phillips too. I don't, as good as West Ham have been over the last couple of years, there was just no worry in the story. And you even saw today, I mean, you had journalists, talking about the story, and even Leeds fans, the most worrisome of Leeds fans, and we know we've got them in the fan base, they weren't buying it. They were just like, yeah, okay, are there any incomings? So that shows you how seriously that everyone took that story. And McAllister Bishop here talking about, I think we're holding out for this takeover to happen. And this is something I mentioned on the debrief this week as well. And the more I think about it, the more I think that's a possibility, McAllister. Because I remember saying on this channel, if we don't do anything in this month, there's going to be some serious words had. But when you see how the club's been moving, it does look like we're kind of waiting for the summer to kind of just gut this thing out and go again. And for me, I'm not listening to the words anymore. The Radrazani top six talk and for next season, I'm not listening. I want to see actions, because the actions so far are not telling me you want to get to the top six, challenge for the top six next season. And that's just it in my point of view. Like the board have been good on their word before, and they have been. Let's be fair to them. Since Radrazani and co have come in, they've been really open. I just think over the last year or so, maybe the transparency hasn't been there, but maybe there's things going on behind the scenes that we as fans, we don't know about. I mean, Paul saying, I guess we get stronger when everyone is fit, but what if they don't? But Paul, it's a point that's been made over and over again. We always have injuries. So whenever we get somebody back, somebody else or another two go out. And right now we're relying on, it's really, when you really break it down and think about it, just think about who we're relying on up front in our current setup with Marcelo as our manager. We're relying on Tyler Roberts and Rodrigo to get us goals. Think about that. Think about all the time you've said Tyler Roberts has had a good game, Rodrigo has had a good game. Really? As strikers, or whatever they want to call themselves? Just think about what we're relying on instead of going out and looking for a loan option. And for me, I've always said, loans are the way to go. On this channel, you've heard me say many times, we don't need to buy everybody. You just need to get some loans in the team to upgrade the squad in a short-term basis and then go again in the summer, because we spent a lot of money in the previous summer. And that's fair enough. But as we've seen today and as we've seen over this window, there are loans to get, quality loans too. There's a few saying we need our key players back. But again, Calvin Phillips isn't going to be back until what, March? We don't know about Bamford. I have a big feeling we're going to get news about Bamford once this transfer window is closed, when there can't be any pressure to say, well, why don't we get a striker? I do believe that. I don't know what's going on with Bamford, but he's been very, very injury hit this season. And in all fairness, again, something else you mentioned, he's been injury hit apart from last season during his time at Leeds United. So we do need to get in players, but I don't know. I mean, people are talking about Lewis O'Brien. Oh man, Lewis O'Brien isn't someone that's high on my list. I think that John Swift is a much better player than him. I do. Lewis O'Brien's probably got more time on his side, and they're probably looking at his age and his profile to say that he can get better, but he's not a creative force. He's just going to be another workhorse midfielder, and we've got enough of those. And I've said it on here before. Where is the quality on the ball? Give us some quality from midfield. We've got central midfielders right now that can't score a goal. Yeah, I mentioned on the match review last week about us just needing a striker. The football is very simple. You just need a striker to score. But then there was also no midfielders running in either. No attacking midfielders. And when you look at players this season, Conor Gallagher being one example, those late runs into the box that can get you those goals. We've got no one doing that. And Jamie Lowe says here, we've been pants all season. Even when we have had our key players, the squad doesn't have enough quality in it. Exactly. The quality isn't there. The quality isn't there. Josh Dash, seeing everyone strengthen around us and doing nothing is worrying. February could be a long month till we get Bamford or Calvin back. Gambling Premier League survival, doing nothing this window. And it's funny because I've kind of maintained that I don't see us getting relegated. But when you look at the moves that certain clubs are making and the moves that we're not making, it could get sticky. It could get very, very sticky. Just saying. So for me, if we did happen to get relegated, and I really hope on everything we don't, trust me on that, because if we get relegated, we ain't coming back next season. It's just not happening. Then it will be because of our absolute inability to add in this window, and we should have done. We're a team that's won 5 games all season, and yet that seems to be enough for some people. Not for me, but is there something behind the lack of activity? I just want to go through a couple points, and I've seen some people as well talk about JKA, in talking about the Brendan Harrison move and JKA being a bad January signing, so that's why the board don't want to do anything. Let's cut that one out right now. Let's cut that nonsense out. So are you trying to tell me if we sign somebody that didn't work out in August that we're never going to sign anyone in August? It's such a flawed basic logic that people just need to get out their heads. Yes, it didn't work out and it was a January signing, but it could have not worked out in July. Does that mean that you don't sign anyone in July? I just wish people would think before they say these kind of things, Somerville is possibly still going out, and that in turn could mean Minamino in. And again, Minamino isn't it for me. Minamino isn't it for me. And Alison Marty Adams, hi KG, very risky game. The club are playing, shocking signing should have been made. Exactly. They should have been made at the start of the month, like Everton did with their 2 fullbacks that came in for the outgoing Luca Dean. That's how you should do it. And Everton again, and they're going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about somebody that Everton are about to sign today, because he would have been perfect for us. And listen, going back to the Minamino, David Dyer, Minamino would be good for us. He's lively and creative. He's not. Minamino has hardly done anything, and I want you to hark back your minds to when he was on that loan at Southampton. Southampton we're talking about here. He went on loan to Southampton maybe just a year ago. Started off really well, as most people do when they first get to a club, and then he was hardly used. I think he made something like 10 appearances. He's not what you think he is. Just because he's coming from Liverpool don't hype it up. And he's 27 and everything else like that. I just hope that if they do sign him, that it's not with any obligation to buy. That would make me feel sick if we have to sign him permanently, if we take him on loan. He's not what you think he is. And although he can play centrally, he plays more from the left. We've already got Harrison, we've already got Dan James there. So yeah, let's overload our wingers with more people there, because that's what we just need, some more wingers. But I really don't rate Minamino like that. I just don't. I don't care where he's come from in terms of Liverpool. He hasn't done it for me. It's like he'll give you one good game every 5 or 6. We don't need that right now. We may as well just stick with Rodrigo if we're gonna get Minamino. Just stick with Rodrigo. I mean, give me your thoughts on if we sign Minamino. I'm all ears. I'm willing to hear what you've got to say. But for me, it's just so underwhelming. Lee Water saying Minamino is not the player we need. He's clearly a panic buy. Yeah, it is. I mean, Ruben, I agree. I can't put that up though. And Chufla saying it's not even a panic buy, it's a loan because we are tight. The thing is, Chufla, I don't mind loans. You can get good loans, and somebody's mentioned it up here, and I will scroll back up to get it. But there's just better loans than Minamino out there. I'm sorry. I just don't see what he's going to give us that someone like Rodrigo isn't already giving us, which is a bunch of nothing. Big Mally, hey, KG. My worry is West Ham links of Rafa and Calvin. I can't see this window. I can't see it at all. Big Mally, I wouldn't worry about that at all. I think if those two players are ever going to go anywhere, it's going to be somebody, with all due respect to West Ham, a more established Champions League club. I just don't see them leaving Leeds United for West Ham. I just don't. So I think if you were worried about them going to West Ham, I wouldn't. The story's nonsense. It's a West Ham PR. West Ham have done this before to try and appease their fans when they haven't bought what they needed to, and that's all it is. Yeah, I mean, listen, Ruben Klopp chose to play a 17-year-old K Gordon over Minamino, and he's done that with many other players too. Harvey Elliott was getting in ahead of Minamino. There's plenty of players that get in ahead of him, and there's a reason for that, because he's not that good. And even my guys over at the Coppish channel, when I said it to him, I said to him when we first came into the Prem, I said, why did you guys sign Minamino? Because he's clearly not a Liverpool quality player. And just because he's not quality for Liverpool doesn't mean he'd be quality for us. I get that. But he's not a good Premier League player. And Southampton found out that when they had him on loan. So for me, I'm underwhelmed. Obviously, if he came, he'd get my full support, and I'd hope he proves me wrong. But nah, it's not it for me. Tom Gatlin is gone on to a point that I was going to make. Everton very, very close now to signing Donny van der Beek from Manchester United on loan for the rest of the season. Now, yeah, but Peter, we have enough Minaminos. Absolutely. In terms of Donny van der Beek, he is or would be an instant upgrade on our midfield right now. Not even close. And then when you think about Calvin Phillips coming back in a pivot with Donny van der Beek, how good does that sound? But how are we not even in for him on loan? Like, all you've had to do is cover the wages. And I know he's on a decent packet, but we're in the Premier League. We're not in the Championship anymore. You have to pay these kind of prices for better players. Donny van der Beek is available on loan. He's about to go to Everton. All they're doing is paying his wages for the rest of the season. How have we not utilized our relationship built from buying Dan James at an overinflated price at that, and just said, hey, working under Bielsa, Van der Beek is going to be guaranteed first team football. We'll take him. We're not a threat to you in the league, because I know Man United haven't loaned Lingard to West Ham because of being a threat to them in the league. We're not a threat to them in the league. You're adding on the ball quality straight away. How are we not even in the links? How are we not? How have we not gone for Van der Beek? And I feel the same way as I did when Ainsley Maitland-Niles went out on loan to Roma. How have we not gone in for that? Yeah, I mean, Scooby saying wage is big though, KG. One goes up, they all go up, not just one wage, not on loan. If there is anybody with a guarantee clause of matching the highest wage, it wouldn't be just for loan. It just wouldn't be just for a loan signing. I mean, truthfully saying, even if it was just a loan and not a loan to buy, Van der Beek would have been perfect. Yeah, and the thing is, it would have benefited us not to have it an obligation to buy. It doesn't have to be. All it is just getting you through to the summer, assuring that you've got quality in place and you've fleshed out the squad as well. So you move in players that should be on the bench to the bench and not starting every week for you. But no, we haven't done it. And it's like, why? Why have we not gone in for him? I don't get it. I mean, yeah, Blinky Fish, Bielsa stubbornness to blame here, I'm afraid. Well, listen, there's three things, isn't there? There's either that we're not looking around, or players don't want to come here, or Bielsa is saying that these players that they've been offering to him aren't as good as what we've currently got, which is nuts to me, because we've won 5 games all season and not played very well all season long. And no 2 wins in the month of January is going to make me forget the previous games of this year. It's just a weird one for me. And you would think if Bielsa is going to go in the summer, that loans would have been perfect. But it just seems like we're not doing anything. And people saying about the money, but we was going to pay 25 million, 20 to 25 million for Brendan Aronson. So there's obviously some kind of cash here. But it's just that, what is it they actually want? Listen, Jamie Lowe, exactly. Van der Beek can create and get goals from midfield, which is something we're massively missing. Exactly. We've got absolutely nothing in that department. Nothing at all. We've just got a load of players that run around and work hard. And even though everyone should be working hard anyway, but we got actually no quality on the ball. Mark Barlow, hi KG. Do you have any idea why we seem to make such hard work with transfers? We're trying to be tight with fees. Is it Bielsa being too picky? Is Rad's not wanting to pay due to a potential summer exit? That's it, Mark. I don't have the answers for that, Mark. I don't know. I'm wondering the same things as you are. But I just want to talk through it and see if anyone else can make sense of some of these players that are available, going out to various clubs, but we're not in for any of them. I mean, yes, Spurs have made 2 signings, but again, we're not in that kind of market for what Spurs have gone for. They've gone for a couple of players that are looking for potential Champions League caliber football. So we're not in that market, and I do get that. But clearly, with someone like Donny van der Beek, he was just desperate to get first team football. Ainsley Maitland-Niles was desperate to get first team football, and we haven't touched it, either of them. So. Yeah, Jason Lee, I think we're just trying to get by for now. Big changes in the summer, new manager, new owner. Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, and I'm maintaining, I don't see Bielsa being here past the summer. I don't. I think that even probably he feels like his time might be over, and I don't think he would want to outstay his welcome. And I don't want him to outstay his welcome either. But I did make a point as well on the debrief that if he does stay longer than past this season, get ready for more of the same kind of football and that we're going to get from this season, because we'll be seeing the same faces play week in, week out. We're going to see Matthijs Klick. We're going to see Liam Cooper back, whereas realistically, these players really shouldn't be here. And I'm not being horrible, but we're talking about being behind in windows. If we do nothing this window, we won't just be behind 2 windows. We'll be behind maybe 3, because a few of these players should have been phased out already. So when we talk about being behind a couple windows, we was badly behind in the summer one. We're going to be behind in this one. To say that you're going to get rid of all the players that aren't good enough in one summer and bring in a whole bunch that are is very unrealistic too. It works in Football Manager. It definitely works there, but it doesn't work in real life. Truthful saying, getting the Mike Ashley feel from Rads of late, lack of spending, maybe ready for a sale of his shares, maybe, could be. Mr. Jones, there's something going on behind closed doors. Sure, we will have more clarity in the summer. That's what I feel right now. I really do, Mr. Jones. I think exactly the same. So John H is saying he's literally just built a house here. He's not leaving this summer. We'll see. We'll see. Jim Watson, look on the bright side, KG. We've still got Roberts, exactly. But that's what I'm talking about. Like guys like Roberts, like, how did he get a new contract last summer? And I do remember saying at the time, maybe it will be a good thing, and if it doesn't work out, we probably get a little bit more value on the sale. But I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how that's possible. Luke W. Cooper is so far down the list of issues with the club. Yeah, Luke, I do get that. But Luke, what I will say is that when Liam Cooper comes back, if he then displaces Pascal Strike out the first team, then he does become an issue because he shouldn't be. And it's as simple as that. And it's nothing against Liam Cooper. It really isn't. I'm just talking about when you see Pascal Strike play, that's what you look like as a quality Premier League centre back. That's what a centre back looks like in the Premier League. That's all it is. It's nothing against Liam Cooper, but that's what I'm saying. Some of these players do become issues because they keep getting picked. I mean, I made a point as well. In regard to Angus Kinnear's comments about the youngsters' path not being blocked by any potential incoming signings. But you can't say that when the youngsters, even when they play well, are not guaranteed to start the next game. And I'm not saying that they should be guaranteed, but there's been instances where some of our senior players have been out injured and they haven't had the game. I always go back to Gelhardt changing the game against Wolves, and we didn't see him touch grass in the Norwich game the next week. That's appalling. Lewis Bate has currently been subbed off after 45 minutes, subbed on, and then subbed off again in games. And he didn't even play in the last one against Newcastle at home. So what is that pathway we're talking about? Youngsters, and you got Somerville, who's looking to go out on loan, has been doing nothing on his IG lately but posting self-belief quotes because he probably feels, well, the last time I was playing Premier League football, I did pretty well with Gelhardt and we changed the game together, and you haven't seen me since. But you're seeing Stuart McKinstry in ahead of me. So when people talk about the youngsters, they should be biding their time and this and that. It's easier said than done, especially when you feel that you've done okay. And that's all I'd say. That's why I say when people are really hammering youngsters, and I said it on the debrief this week, but a lot of people hammered Cody Drameh for wanting to go out on loan, even though he wasn't getting first team football. And in all fairness, he wasn't ready for it. But we shouldn't be hammering these youngsters for wanting to go out because they shouldn't be put in this position anyway. But that's another conversation. That's just another thing in terms of the lack of recruitment at this club. Like these youngsters, we shouldn't be talking about these youngsters in playing Somerville. We shouldn't be talking about him wanting to play Premier League football. He should still be in the under 23s, but we've had to use him. Yeah, I mean, Scooby starting to see through the political BS that they previously brought into. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not stupid. I've worked in businesses before with big CEOs and everything else like that. You can see through what they actually mean to what they put out, and you just have to read between the lines sometimes. That's all I'll say. Jack Wilson saying, I'm expecting nothing from this window, Cage. You got the disappointment well prepared. Yeah, I'm with you, Jack. And it's funny because I said, what was it, December, start of January? There's no way Leeds United cannot do anything this summer, this January window. There's just no way, because we obviously clearly need recruitments and upgrades. But when you hear Kinnear's comments, when you're reading Mateus Click on IG saying he's not going anywhere this month, like he's Rafinha or Calvin Phillips, you start to put it in your head, well, we're just staying as this promotion, happy family, just vibes and family business, isn't it? That's all it is. I think that's what it is at this moment in time. It's just about not disturbing the family. Or we can't possibly get Van der Beek on loan because he's going to be better and displace one of the regulars. That's not how you move on, and that is not how you get top six football if you really want it. Martin J with a super chat. Thank you for your support, Martin. Minamino on loan is a good option at this stage. It will give us a chance to try before we buy. I don't want to buy Minamino. I don't care. I'll make this clear as well, because this is a lot like the Joe Willock situation for me. Even if Minamino came in and scored 8 goals for the rest of the season, I don't want to see him next summer. I would say to Liverpool, thank you so much for that, and good luck selling him to the next club that saw him score 8 goals at Leeds United. I don't want that guy permanently. But thank you for the super chat, and I know what you're saying. Just gonna go through. Yeah, Robbie, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Always been the case. That's it for me. And again, it drives me wild that some Leeds fans think that some of these guys aren't really like Gelhardt. Yes, there is going to be a time where Gelhardt will burn out. That's just natural for any kind of player, but especially a young one. But that's when you get somebody else in to help him out. That's why I say we could have done with an experienced striker on loan just to help out Gelhardt while Bamford's out. It really blows my mind that some of these people would never have played Jonathan Woodgate or Harry Kewell or Alan Smith or Michael Bridges or Ian Hart because they would have been too young. Absolutely crazy to me that they think that they're not ready. But it is what it is. Athena saying not totally against Bielsa leaving in the summer, but I'll admit that I'm worried that no one will be able to get as much out of some of these players. Listen, Athena, I've said this before. I would not want to see any other manager trying to get the best out of some of the players that we've got. And I put in that bracket Luke Ayling, Liam Cooper, and a couple of the others, you know, the usual suspect from when we was mid-table championship, because I do think that he's brought the very, very best out of them. But there's limits to this. There's limits. You outgrow certain players, and we have done. But it just seems like the club, I said it before, I think I said it last week, but it seems like the club want top 6 football, but they want it with this squad. But you have to choose, because you can't have both, you know? David Jewell, Kinnear's comments were self-contradictory. Only circumstances with injuries provided opportunities for under 23s, not by design. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But in all fairness, David, that is when it should be. You bring in your under 23s, you're better under 23s when there's injuries or first team players need a rest. But we're at the stage where we've had so many injuries, but the squad hasn't been fleshed out enough. Our bench right now is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And even at the end of the season, when we do an end of season review, saying that we've brought on Stuart McKinstry, and I know it's good for the lad that he's got his debut for Leeds United in the Prem, but he should never have seen the debut in the Premier League for Leeds United. He shouldn't. This isn't a championship, but it just feels like they're kind of treating it like it. And I've said it before, but that 9th place finish really did like over inflate our expectations for the coming season. Maybe as fans, but definitely from board level. I think they were expecting another mid-table finish. I do. Let's have a look. Just going through. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, I think Click was just having a laugh. I do get that. No. I understand that he may have been having a laugh, but I don't think he was. I think it was just that he knows he's not going to get sold this month, even though when you think about it, he should be on the list that should have got sold this month and replaced. Not just him going out and no one come in. There should have been a replacement for him just to freshen that spot up. But there's always laughs. I mean, yeah, I know what you're saying, but nah, I think there was a meaning behind it, as just to say he isn't going anywhere. Yeah, Jack, embarrassing comments back in here, and it's not his first time this season. Before, he used to be so jovial, so like jokey with his comments in the program, but the stress of this season, I think, has taken them all by shock. I really do, because you've seen them when they've panned to the crowd and we've not been playing well, we're losing the game, and all three of them look absolutely like, what is going on? Why are they playing like this? But John Hanley, we don't watch out, we could be relegated. Do you know how much of a disaster that would be? Oh man. Listen, yeah, Noah, KG Broski, thoughts on that wrong and Greenwood, and he's talking about Mason Greenwood. Listen, I always say try not to judge anything until, but I've just got a gut feeling that this one's a bad one for Mason. And if he's found guilty, he deserves all the punishment going for him because, and it's wild to see people talking about Mason Greenwood's career and everything else like that. Are you crazy? What about the girl? What about the girl who went through all that trauma? And you're talking about a footballer's career. Listen, broke people have done things like that, but I don't say, oh man, he could have really picked some fruit this week. Oh man, he could have been the best fruit picker in the world. It doesn't matter what field they're in. The crime is heinous, and the audio is disgusting. The audio is absolutely mad. So I would advise, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're not in and you don't want to hear anything that could trigger you, don't listen to it. But yeah, listen, Mason, if it's proven that it's guilty, now he's got to pay the consequences. Has to. Prison wood. I felt bad for Harriet. Prison wood. I hear you. Yeah, the girl in question, absolutely feel bad for her. But I don't want to go on about it because I don't want to seem like I'm kind of exploiting it. But you asked me my thoughts on it. That is my thought on it. Simple as that. I don't care who he is. I don't care who you are. You do something like that, you deserve the consequences of punishment. Simple as that. Chrissy's saying back onto Leeds. Leeds need to keep cool, not be panicked. Into O'Brien. I mean, the thing is, I don't know if O'Brien will be a bad signing. I really don't. But for me, he's not my first choice because I think we've already got too many of these kind of guys in there, just busy bodies that have got relatively little quality in their boots. But we'll see what happens. DE, got you to have missed most of this on here, but good to see more content. Seems to me recently the club's comments regarding transfers are just playing defensive again. What is just there in plain sight? DE, on the money. Hey, Connor, one Leeds fan channel. My debrief brother. Relegation is a stark reality after the window. Rafinha and Melia get injured. What on earth does Leeds do? Serious question. Russian Roulette FC. Connor, it's right. And I look today, I'm just going to point out as well, Newcastle, Guimaraes going in. What a signing for them in midfield. Dan Burn is going now. And they're possibly going to get Dean Henderson in goal, which is an area that they needed to shore up because their keepers were absolutely mass. They were rubbish. And they could be getting Dean Henderson on loan. They're getting points. They're getting points for the rest of the season. They're going to pick up a few more points than they would have without those kind of signings. Because I actually do like Dan Burn. I know people think he's just this big, clumsy guy, but I think he's quite solid. But also Everton, Van der Beek. You know, there's other business going on right now, and there's possibly going to be business tomorrow as well. And it just seems that we're not involved in any of the parties. You know? Oh. David Jewell and other teams around us are strengthening while we are standing pat. Exactly. And just on that point, what Connor made there about relegation, I don't know. I don't know if we, because I just didn't see us losing at home to Newcastle either. So you can't say that you do know if we're going to stay up or not. I just see that other clubs are doing business and we're not doing nothing, man. And it's quite disheartening. You get desensitized after a while, but I don't know. It's a tough bit to be in, to be honest. It's just tough to really get your head around exactly what is going and what isn't going on at Leeds United right now. Luke W with a super chat. Thanks for the support, man. How much pressure will be on us to beat Everton, especially now with Frank Lampard? Yeah, we're going to be seeing Frank Lampard again. That should be fun. And you know how much he wants to beat Leeds, and more so Bielsa. I think it's more Bielsa thing than it is Leeds, in all fairness. So we've got that to contend with. Because before, I'm telling you, I'm saying Everton's going to be a 3-pointer for us. I would believe that. But yeah, the new manager bounce is real. And Frank Lampard's desire to beat Leeds and Bielsa is definitely real. And I mean, our game before that, Villa, goddamn, I don't know what's going on now. I don't want to think about that just yet. We'll get into that closer to the time. But it's going to be tough. And the thing is, people that are trying to act like it won't be tough are obviously forgetting that we've only won 5 games this season. So, yeah. It is, man. There's another comment I wanted to get before. Yeah, D coming back again. I'd like to just see the club embrace some fresh faces. Why let such a good thing go stale, and if it goes bad, sour thereafter? That's what I've said on here before. I don't think they want fresh faces. I just don't believe it. I believe in actions more than words at this point. And the more I see it, the more I see that this team stays together. Bielsa, I just don't think they want any new players that could possibly oust any of the old promotion squad at this point in time. I just don't think they want to do it. That's just my opinion right now, and has been since I've seen a few things this month. Um, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Hmm. Yeah, Connor makes a good point about a backup goalie, man. We could do with one still. All it takes is one COVID test for Melier, and yeah, we're done. Frankie Pashby saying, I'm sick of Bielsa with his small squads. I mean, if we go down, it's on him. It's not just on him, because ultimately you've got a board that could say, listen, we've got Premier League survival and our Premier League lives at stake here. You're getting these players. And unfortunately, if it's one of those things where Bielsa doesn't like it and he walks, you have to kind of accept that. For me, nothing is bigger than the club. And I don't care what people say in terms of what he's done. I know what Bielsa's done. I'm so grateful for what Bielsa's done, but not at the detriment of my club going back down into the doldrums again. No chance. No chance at all. It's the club first. I don't know how many times I got to say it on here. Leeds United always comes first, because long after Bielsa's gone, we're supporting Leeds United. And what we're going to keep our integrity because we kept the coach that got us promoted. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. The coach should be looking at it and saying, yeah, we need to adjust some things. It clearly hasn't worked. We need to adjust some things together. And if one person isn't willing to do that, you kind of have to say, well, you have to either adapt or mutually agree to leave. That's my take on it. I'm not saying that Bielsa should be sacked or anything, but we can't keep doing this to the squad. We can't keep doing this. This is Premier League football, man. And we just lost at home to Newcastle, one of the worst teams in the league. But yeah, we're okay, man. We're all right. We don't need no other. We're not. Mark Wright can't Dallas play in goal? We probably will, man. Probably will. Yeah, I mean, Russ, listen, I get this. Russ is saying if it wasn't for Bielsa, we'd be back in League One right now, in my opinion. I don't know if that's true. I think we'd have just been finishing 15th, 16th in the championship again. I don't think we would go back down to League One. I get that, but at some point you have to adjust. Russ, if you're going to keep on saying stuff like that, then we're never going to move forward. We're never going to go further than where we are right now. Right now, we look like we're happy to be Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. That's what we look like we're happy to be right now. And for me, that kind of football isn't enjoyable. It's better to be mid-table in the Prem than the Championship, of course. But you have to move forward. If you're not going to move forward, then we're just going to keep going backwards. It's as simple as that. Andy C saying Newcastle will finish above Leeds this season. There's a chance. There's a chance. The only thing that we've got in our favour is that they are really, really bad teams in this league. And I know Burnley are about to wrap up a couple of pieces of business. Whether it's enough, I don't know. But Burnley, Norwich, Watford, and at this point Newcastle are very, very bad. But we're not far in front of them. We're not. We're not that far in front of them at all. So Mooks is saying, sick of all the transfer news with the papers and online, but Leeds never do any business other clubs do. Yeah, I mean, listen, because people have asked me before, why don't I do transfer rumors? Because I'm not interested in them. And kind of, I don't know if he's still here. He does those and he goes in depth on those, and fair play to him. But for me, those kind of things just don't interest me. I like to see the players hold up the shirt, because ultimately, of all the transfer rumors you've heard, we've signed nobody. So for me, I like to see the player come in and then we talk about him. But yeah, all these rumors and everything. But even then, even Mooks, there's been hardly any rumors until Minamino a couple of days ago. Like there was nothing. Because the journalists, and I've said it on here before, they don't know it. The British-based journalists, they don't know anything that's going on in the club anymore in terms of transfers. They just don't have that information anymore. So it's really tough. It's not until Fabrizio says something. I mean, Fabrizio come out today and rubbish the Rafinha Calvin thing, but I mean that just didn't need rubbishing. I think anyone would have just ignored it. But listen, just trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, yep. Okay, right. Let me just think. There was something else here that I was gonna touch on. Oh, Max H. Can't have the board hide behind Bielsa the way Arsenal hid behind Wenger. I'm not having that. Yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible. I'm telling you. Tom Gatlin, it's all too comfortable at Ellen Road. We just need to be ruthless with the squad or we'll just be stagnant. Yeah, stagnant or going backwards, man. Stagnant or going backwards. That's what happens. Crixus, I feel we will do a panic signing. If we sign anybody, it probably will be, but I wouldn't advise it. I'm not on that train of just because we haven't signed anybody, just get anybody in. Like if we was to get a double sign of Minamino and Ross Barkley, or just say like something like that happen, that's a disaster because you're getting two players that will give you absolutely nothing. So for me, if you're not going to sign anybody worth of quality that's going to upgrade or help you out, just leave it alone. Just leave it and stand pat. That's what I think. There's no point getting bodies in just for the sake of it because that can make things worse. So that's just my opinion, though. Russ said, in return, maybe some of the names on the list that Orta and Kinnear want to bring Bielsa has rejected because they aren't ready to come in straight away potentially. There is that, but listen, West Ham allegedly have bid for Calvin Phillips, who isn't going to be back in any time soon, but they know that when he's back, he's going to be good for the run-in from March to May. That's kind of something that we would have to look at. And in all fairness, that whole Bielsa training people now for a month and stuff isn't all that true anymore because we've seen it with Firpo. Firpo was not fully fit when he came on a sub. I think it was against Tottenham, but he came on and he didn't look that good. So I think that whole Bielsa puts him in the under 23s for like a month thing is kind of gone now. I don't think that's necessarily true. I just think it's more of if they fit what he likes. And when you look at like Brendan Harrison's profile, for example, like I said, never heard of him before, never seen him play. But then when you look at how he plays, he's just got that same kind of Bielsa vibe of just running, passing, all that kind of stuff, covering the ground. He's that kind of player. So as long as they fit the mold, I think Bielsa would be happy to get a couple bodies in. But is he overrating the current squad? That's another worry for me. That's what I'm saying. There's just so many things we don't know. Just imagine if Victor Orta said, "Listen, we may be able to get Van der Beek," and he says, "Oh no, he's not better than Mateus Klick." But we don't know that, do we? So yeah, we just don't know. Robbie, we need goals to ensure survival, but I just can't see where they're coming from at the moment. It has to be a worry. Yeah, outside of Rafinha, where are the goals coming from? I mean, Harrison got that, good hat trick the other week, but it's true because if we are relying on Tyler Roberts and Rodrigo, then that's mad. But then, John Smith saying Gelhardt is a striker. He is, but he doesn't get played. So we know he's a striker and we know that he should start in this current team, but Bielsa won't start him. He doesn't even put him on as a sub before Tyler Roberts. So you have to kind of go in the mold of what Bielsa's doing right now, rather than what we prefer or think should happen. Gelhardt isn't seeing the grass unless it's like a catastrophe out there. And for me, it is a catastrophe right now. But obviously not to Bielsa, who still sticks with Tyler Roberts ahead of him. But what can you do? What can you do? I mean, you know what would be nice, actually? Speaking of Villa, who we've got next, I mean, they just wrapped up a deal for Callum Chambers very quietly from Arsenal. I'm not saying I wanted Callum Chambers by any stretch of the imagination, but I would just love it if tomorrow we wake up, or maybe even later this evening, we wake up and say Leeds have signed so and so, and no one even had it covered, because no one covered the Callum Chambers thing. It was actually Arsenal's website that broke it first, and then Villa. I would love us to do something like that. And Villa, that's the second time they've done it after the Danny Ings deal. That would be nice to see. I'm not saying that I want to hear all the rumors or hear who we're going for. I just want to see deals done. And the fact that it's the 30th of January and we haven't done anything is very disheartening. But if they come tomorrow and we get in a couple of names and no one even had them on their radar, I'd be happy as long as they're of quality. But yeah, just get the deals done under the radar. That would be nice. Tom Gatlin, just gonna wrap up, man. Been going for 45 minutes. That's time has flown. Tom Gatlin, Bielsa has been great for us, but seems fans are getting a little tired of certain parts of his manager role. Yeah, Tom. I mean, listen, I've just said as well with Bielsa, it would for me if we could keep the coach and he adapts, that would be brilliant because you want somebody like Bielsa that is ingrained in the club now. You know, he's very much a part of the Leeds United fabric. Let's be honest, he is. He's you know, and he deserves his statue. For me, he deserves a statue for what he's done. But if you're not willing to adapt and have a bigger squad with more quality in it, and if you're still going to be playing some of the players that you've been playing before over the more talented youngsters that we've got that have got more energy and quality on the ball, then it does become a little bit, you know, you feel like you're banging your head against the wall. You're like, no, please, Marcelo, just please just play the right team. Please just do that. And I can see why some people are getting a bit tired of him. I can see it. Because how many times, you know, it's not just the people that, you know, we see it all the time on these things, Bielsa out and all that stuff. But it's even the Bielsa lovers that are scratching their heads at some of the substitutes and tactics that he's done this season. So, you know, it's just about him learning from his mistakes that he always says he does. I don't think that he does really learn from them, in all honesty, but we can only hope and see what happens for the rest of the season. Like I say, the Liam Cooper thing is going to be very interesting when he's fit and ready to go, because there's no chat. There's just no way in any shape, way, or form he gets in ahead of Pascal. But if we're going to what Bielsa usually does, he will be ahead of Pascal Strout, which is not good for me. But yeah, listen, yeah, Tom Gatlin, Top Stream KG, it's all about therapy. Yeah, but that's it. I just wanted to come on a day before and just see, because obviously, if anything does happen over the next few hours or tomorrow, I'll be back on and we'll talk about the signings made, or if Somerville's gone out on loan, we'll see if we discuss that. Mick saying banging my head against the wall for many months. It's been absolutely mad. But yeah, John Smith adapted Bielsa. I would buy into that. Me too, John. I really would. But yeah, listen, we're going to end it there. I think we've got everything out. I think I've got everything I want to say. I've got your feedback here. If you're watching the replay, please give me your comments in the comments and see, you know, see what you're saying about it. Is there any panic? Is there any panic, or are you okay with everything? You know, providing that all our injured players come back. Just give me your thoughts on the transfer window so far and anything that you've heard from me today, because yeah, I'm just interested to hear how everyone else is. I'm a bit dejected, bit deflated in regards to the transfer window, but there's still a day to go. Let's see how we're doing. So yeah, smash a like, and I'll possibly see you tomorrow. Peace out, people.